Fear Street Part 2, 1978 is once again directed by Lee Janiak, and this is a sequel to the previous Netflix film, Fear Street Part 1, 1994, which I reviewed just a few days ago. And if you want to see that, there will be a link at the end of this video, so you can go ahead and check my review out on that one as well. As I mentioned in my previous review of Part 1 of this film series, a lot of those expectations should be set the same way here. So you have to understand this is a YA or young adult film, and this does pay homage similar to the first one, where it was paying a lot of homage to Scream and movies of the 90s that were slasher like. This one takes a spin at the late 1970s, early 80s camp horror films like Friday the 13th, Evil Dead, and Sleepaway Camp. Once again, this isn't a bad thing in my opinion, but it does feel like an R-rated Disney original film. Straight into the pros here. One thing I definitely do like about this film series as a whole is the fact that it has a non-linear timeline. So each sequel is a prequel. And the cool thing about that is that you actually learn a lot about the previous movie you just watched in the movie you're watching now. And it's tied in very, very nicely. And another thing I definitely did dig was the vibe of this movie. It definitely feels like a summer slasher film. It feels like summertime when you watch it. Similar to what Stranger Things Season 3 did with 4th of July, it really felt like 4th of July when you were watching that season. And this movie does the exact same thing. It's definitely an awesome movie. It feels like a sleepover film. So this is definitely a movie you could watch every summer. Like I mentioned earlier, this movie does pay a ton of homage to the horror films of the time it's set in, and it's so on the nose that it's very self-aware and you just end up having fun with it. And speaking of fun, the kills here on display are really intense. Once again, they do not hold back. So if you're really into slasher movies, this is the movie for you. So yeah, it has a ton of gore, but what the ass did you expect in a movie like this? Another really cool thing this movie series does is the character development for Sarah Fear, a character we haven't really spent much time with. And between the two films, they've been developing her, and we're already scared of her, and we don't know what she looks like. And speaking of good character development, Sadie Sink is so good in this movie. She's really great in Stranger Things, and I think she's a perfect fit for this role and this whole summer, vintage vibe. On to the cons now. If you're born in Sunnyvale, are you inherently evil? Because everybody from that town has to be an exaggerated jerk. It just doesn't make any sense. They did this in the first movie and they're doing it again. So apparently, be forewarned, if you have a sibling on the way and your mom's pregnant and she gives birth in Sunnyvale, just know that your sibling is going to be a dick. It's just so dumb. I don't know why they did it again. It's so unbelievably cheesy. And speaking of cheesy, they had one of those cliche, look, I've made a lot of mistakes, and I know that during a really scary situation, like now's not the time to have this pep talk. I know it's a cliche, but it's just so tired and so boring and so dumb, and it really changes the pace of things in horror movies. So they need to really stop that. Fortunately, this movie does it, I think, twice. So yeah, just please stop doing that. Also, the CGI in this movie is so bad. I don't know why they just didn't go with practical effects when the horror community loves practical effects. Anytime a movie announces that they're going to use practical effects and avoid CGI, they all rejoice and they get happy because they know the CGI is going to look like shit, and it does look like shit here as well. I also did not like the character Cindy, played by Emily Rudd. For some reason, during the first half of the movie, she really just looks like a posh British butler that is very outraged by something the whole time. And I didn't care for her relationship with her sister because much of the movie, they're spread apart. And I didn't feel their connection whatsoever. So that was definitely a huge negative for me. Also, once again, they force music down your throat. In the first one, they had great songs from the 90s, and this one has great songs from the late 70s, but they really force you to consume it like some sort of shitty junior high pizza. Honestly, I don't know what they're gonna do with the next one unless there's some really cool jams I don't know about with people hitting sticks on rocks. They're not going to be able to do that in the third one, so that's a good thing. But yeah, it's just very forced. We get it. You guys have good taste in music. We like all these songs, but please stop with the goddamn songs. It's like 40 songs in the first like 30 minutes in the first movie, and they kind of really just keep doing that in the second one too. But I actually did like this movie, and I thought it was better than the first one. It had a lot of good tense moments, and if you understand what this movie's trying to do and understand it's self-aware, you're gonna have a good time. It's a good movie to watch during the summer. Again, it has that sleepover summer camp vibe. And with that being said, I'm gonna give Fear Street Part 2, 1978 a B. Now I want to know what you guys thought. Are you guys excited about part three? Because I definitely am. There's one more movie left to go in this series. I can't wait to see it. I also want to let you guys know I'll be reviewing Space Jam and Loki next week. So make sure to smash the crap out of that like, subscribe, and notification bell, and make sure to have your tickets ready. I'll see you at the next movie.